Hi, welcome back to La Cocina Talk. My name is Rick Ochoa. I'm in beautiful Norwalk, California, and we're here today with Miguel
Rivera with Dream Big Project.
Dream Big Project, what is that about?
So Dream Big Project is a nonprofit organization that I started in 2014. I started as a student in college, and essentially what we're about is really inspiring youth to pursue their dreams through higher education.
Wow, is there anything unique that you do? Any scholarships or stuff like that?
Definitely. So we provide, we're rooted in education and healthy youth development. So we do provide basic needs for students K through 12 who need help with their education. One of the things that we do provide scholarships for students in 12th grade. We provide backpacks for elementary school students.
Oh, wow.
And we give motivational speeches across, middle schools and essentially K through 12.
That's awesome because you're hitting all the grades. It's not just to one side of the grade. You're like backpacks and scholarships. You're giving that foundation of there's more out there to do.
Exactly. And it's really, it's strategically because we are aware that there is needs across different levels, right? And being that we want to give back and just the story behind it in general goes into that. So we understand that students across K through 12, even in college, right, there's needs there. Yeah. So we really, want to help in a big way.
We want to know who Miguel is. Who is Miguel?
Miguel, well, I'm someone who grew up in Long Beach. Shout out to LBC out there. Hey, what's up? So I grew up in Long Beach, 3 brothers, both my parents. And, moved to Norwalk in middle school. So I grew up in Long Beach, we moved to Norwalk in middle school, and I've been here ever since. I'm someone who's an athlete, been an athlete my entire life.
Okay.
Someone who's passionate about education. So that's one of the reasons why we're rooted in education. But, I'm just someone who cares, someone who's passionate, someone who wants to give back. At the same time, I have big dreams and goals myself. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, so Miguel, let's go into more details. I think the people want to know who Miguel is. Come on. Are you first generation, second generation?
So I'm first generation.
Okay.
My parents didn't go to school. They didn't finish high school. And I'm the first in my family to go to college. Not only get a bachelor's degree, but get a master's degree.
Oh, wow.
So I'm honestly doing things today that I never thought I'd be doing, to be quite honest with you. Okay. Some of those things, like I mentioned, getting those degrees, right? And also just coaching football, right? High school football.
What?
So I'm doing all kinds of different things right now. I'm a high school counselor. I'm doing things I never thought I'd be doing, like I said. Yeah.
Coaching football. So that means if you coach football, you must have played. Did you play football?
I played football my entire life. Starting, 7 or 8 years old when I was in Long Beach. And then we moved to Norwalk. I really thought am I still going to be able to play? So I realized, hey, Pop Warner is out here. So I played for the Downey Razorbacks. And that's really where I would say the beginning of my transformation happened in a sense. And what I mean by that is when I really start to set goals for myself at that age, middle school and Pop Warner. For example, Pop Warner, you have to have a certain weight limit to play, right? Me, growing up as a kid, I was this fat, overweight kid. When I first started playing football, I was I want to hit people. But then I realized there was a weight limit. And then I was you mean I have to weigh a certain amount to play? And then it wasn't until middle school or when I got to middle school, Pop Warner, there was a weight limit. And I was you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to meet that weight limit. But then my coach at the time even pulled me to the side and he said, you know what? I don't think you're going to, make the weight. Do you want to just return your equipment? I can give you a full refund. He literally pulled me to the side and told me and my parents that. And I'm someone who's driven. And you know what? I was even though you kind of you probably shouldn't have told me that. I felt kind of offended. I took that and I ran with it and I was motivated I had to lose 20 pounds in 1 month. And I lost 21 pounds in 1 month. So that's just a little bit about me. That's the type of person I am. Regardless of the obstacle, regardless of the goal, I'm willing to do what it takes.
Okay. So we got you to high school. You must have played high school football.
Yeah. So I continued playing football even past middle school, Pop Warner. Went into high school. And I remember my freshman year, I was thinking, we were in practice and I was with some friends of mine in practice. And we're trying out for certain positions. And by this time, I lost a lot of weight. I wasn't a lineman anymore, so I could have played like a skill position. And then I was really kind of confused on what I wanted to play. And I remember we were in this line, and a friend of mine was telling me, hey, like, why don't you try out for quarterback? Because we would play catch, and I had an arm, right? He's like, you should try out for quarterback. And I was like, quarterback? Like, going from a lineman to a quarterback, I was like, all right, because nobody wanted to try out. And I was like, all right, I'll just, step up for the team and, see what I got. So, we're warming up, and then right then and there, coach was like, you're our quarterback. So I played quarterback throughout high school, my entire 4 years. Played baseball and basketball too, but football was my main sport. Mm-hmm. And I played varsity quarterback starting my sophomore year and then junior year, senior year. And that was really like something that took me away from, my mindset as far as education, as far as my friends. But I stuck to football my entire life all the way up until high school.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, so you were the high school sweetheart. You're the quarterback. All the high school girls must have been going crazy.
Man, I'm humble. I don't kiss and tell, but
there you go.
But some people would have that misconception of me being like a jock or someone, who's a quarterback, and they kind of put that stereotype on me.
Yeah.
But when people get to know me, they realize like, man, Miguel is just this down to earth, compassionate dude who really is just a cool person to be around. Right. At least, that's what I would say. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm someone who is just like really the jock or, that stereotypical point of view, but I'm someone who just loves sports and just loved helping people and just had a lot of friends.
Okay. So we're in high school. I kind of know a little bit about your story.
Right.
What happened, I guess, in your senior year? What happened that I can say, you can kind of say, change your life?
Yeah, that's a good point. So, I've always been the type of person who valued education, right? Someone who my parents didn't graduate from high school. So just growing up, I naturally wanted to do good by them and for myself at the same time. And so fast forward into high school, when I graduated high school, I got accepted to a lot of universities, a lot of schools. And that was something that was a dream of mine, to be able to be the first in my family to go to a university or just to graduate from college, wherever it was. My dream school was UC Santa Barbara. So, I had very good grades. I was involved in sports. And so when I applied to these universities, I got accepted to a lot of them, right? So after I graduated high school, I graduated, I don't know, May or June. Fast forward to August 15th, 2009 to be exact. This was a night where my entire life changed. And, to keep it simple is, I just got out of work one night. This was a Friday night, and I was actually going to start college the following week. And, I get out of work, I get invited to a party. And this is something that we would do all the time, go out, have fun, party. That was like a norm of mine in high school and then going into this night.
That's high school life. We're having a good time, going out to parties.
Yeah. So it was typical for us to go out. And this particular night, I went out, got invited to go to a party where it was a 21st birthday party. And when we got to this party, there was a lot of alcohol, a lot of people. And, just one decision after another led me to driving myself from a friend's house after this party, where I crashed on the side of the 5 freeway. My car flipped about 4 or 5 times down into a ditch, and I broke my neck. And that was a night that my entire life changed.
Yeah, something that I'm sorry to hear that, and I know it's difficult and everything. So what brought that on? Tell me a little bit. This that night. What happens afterward? What happened with your recovery and all that afterwards?
Right.
What was going on then?
Yeah. So that night when I woke up in the hospital, that night in particular, I remember just kind of waking up and seeing a mom there. She was crying. The doctor comes in and tells me what happens and basically tells me, you're never going to walk again. I'm sorry to be able to tell you this. You're never going to walk again. So laying in that hospital bed, 18 years old, all these dreams, all these goals, all these things that I used to do that I feel like I no longer can do. I really thought to myself, like, why did I even make it through that accident, right? I wish I would never have made it because I no longer want to live my life this way. The doctor said I was going to be physically disabled, permanently. never going to be able to walk. So right away, I thought no sports, no work, no school, no friends, none of what I was used to.
Yeah.
So for the next 2.5 years, I was literally just questioning myself, and I was going through depression at the time, some struggling, just literally learning how to live all over again. I remember not wanting to leave my house, not wanting to go into cars, not wanting to go back to school. The people that I hung out with the most during, my entire life, at least my closest friends, were no longer close. And my life was getting pulled apart from every direction. So I had to reflect on that. And it took me 2.5 years to reflect on that until I started taking steps to lead me to where I am today.
Okay, so let's walk through those steps. You said that your friends association kind of went MIA on you, and
right.
you're kind of now in an island by yourself. You kind of figure out what's going to happen, but you did something.
Mm-hmm.
You went to college, right?
Right, I did. Okay. I did, and so what led to that, because that was a really difficult decision. I was physically disabled, right? So a lot of questions were, how am I going to get through certain things that I want to do? Yeah. And it always felt impossible to me, not knowing anyone who went through what I'm going through or went through at the time. So it was really like you mentioned, by myself on this island, not knowing where to go or who to talk to. And it wasn't until one day, my brother of mine, my younger brother, Ivan, he was a senior at Norwalk High School, and he was an ASB. Him and his friends were an ASB, and they were actually putting together an event called Every 15 Minutes. I don't know if you've heard of Every 15 Minutes before.
I heard of something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that?
So essentially, Every 15 Minutes, it's this nationwide assembly where they actually go to schools, high schools in particular, and they put on this fictional event of a drunk driving scene.
Okay.
And so it's literally ambulance comes out, firefighters come out, police comes out. So my brother tells me, hey, would you be interested in being a guest speaker at this event? And, right then and there, I was thinking, first of all, I don't like public speaking at the time. always been that person who was just kind of shy,
Yeah.
And then I wasn't really comfortable yet to kind of speak up and share my story. But at the time, there was something inside of me, telling me, you have to do this. My brother asked me right away, I'm like, no, but something inside of me was like, you have to do this. So I said, you know what? All right, let's do it. So I went, shared my story in Norwalk High School after the completion of the entire scene and the event they had. The conclusion of that event was me being the guest speaker.
Yeah.
And, there was, I would say, close to 1,000 people in that gymnasium. And, from firefighters to teachers to students to parents, a little bit of everyone there. And at the end of that presentation or that speech, I got all of this feedback from a little bit of everyone, and people started inviting me to share my story at certain places. Going through that, I realized, it felt good sharing my story and also helping others. So I started getting a lot more confidence in myself. Okay. And so one night, I was laying down in bed, and I was thinking are you just going to kind of stay at home, all day? Cause that's what I was doing at the time. And I was thinking is this your life? 18 years old? Or are you just going to be, 19, 20? Is this what you're going to be doing? Just kind of at home, not really focusing on your dreams, on your goals. Right. Yeah. And right away I answered to myself, hell no, that is not who I am. So when I told myself that, that's when I started thinking let's go to work. Let's do it. Whatever I need to do to get to where I want to be, let's do it. Okay. So that's when I started taking those little steps towards, achieving my goals.
All right. So so you made a decision. I think you went to Cerritos College, you said?
I enrolled at Cerritos College. I wanted to stay local just because I was, dependent on my family for transportation and things like that. So I went to Cerritos Community College. I started off with 1 or 2 classes, ended up, going full time. I completed my transfer credits over 2.5 years at Cerritos. I ended up transferring to Cal State Dominguez Hills. Hey, shout out to all the Toros out there. So I transferred to Dominguez Hills, and I was there for about 2 years. Met a lot of awesome people. And my junior year at Dominguez Hills is when a lot of things started to happen. I started coaching high school football. I started thinking about starting my own nonprofit. So a lot of things started to change towards the end of my time at Cal State Dominguez Hills. Yeah.
So we're looking at about about 4 to 5 year window,
right?
That you went through that situation that you went through, and you're one of those rare people that can take a negative and turn it into a positive. I mean, not very many people get handed a devastating card like yourself,
right?
And take themselves out of that feeling of emptiness of, what's going on with me. Now you go to college. Now you're going to Dominguez Hills and you're coaching football. How, something, you were talking right now and I just can't, I can't fathom all that energy and all that drive that you have to get you there, man. I commend you with that. I really do. I really commend you.
I appreciate that, Rick, because, to be quite honest, with you and just, viewers or anyone, right? It wasn't easy. Still not easy. And, this is just me that I'm talking about, my particular situation and story. Yeah. But, we all have our stories and things that we're going through. But regardless, like we have to find a way. We can't give up on ourselves or our family or whoever it is we're supporting. But at the end of the day, like we have to move forward, right? Life goes on. So we got to do what it takes to move forward.
Yeah. So you went to Dominguez Hills. You graduated. Did you get your bachelor's? Would you?
I got my bachelor's at Dominguez Hills in sociology with a minor in business administration.
Okay.
I went in wanting to do engineering, but just my passion shifted a little bit. And I think when I got injured and as I started going to school, I started to learn more about myself. I started to learn more about like my goals and what I was cared about. And that allowed me to shift what I wanted to major in. So I went into sociology, majored in sociology, minored in business administration. And during that time, I really was unsure about the direction I wanted to go in because there was so many things I was passionate about, so many things that I wanted to do. And football being one of those things, how that came up was I thought if I can't play the sport anymore, like physically play, why not do the next best thing, right? Coach football.
Yeah.
So I went back to my alma mater, Norwalk High School. My high school football coach who I had was still coaching there. And he offered me the opportunity to be the head football coach for the JV football team.
Wow. So
I took that and that was something that I'm, forever grateful for because that opened up a lot of doors for me.
That's good. So you're a football coach, you're a college graduate. You say you changed your career in your education. So what was your final decision in that? What direction did you go in?
Right. So, I finished at Dominguez with a sociology degree and minor in business. And then once I finished Cal State Dominguez Hills, or actually while I was still there, I thought, and I was still being invited to give speeches and things like that. During that, I thought, you know what? There's more here. Like I could do more. Like I can help more, right? And during that time is when I thought, like, what can be done? And that's when Dream Big Project. I got together with a group of friends who are also passionate about similar things, and we came together and started Dream Big. So while I was coaching football, while I was in the middle of graduating from Dominguez Hills, we started a nonprofit organization called Dream Big Project. And then after graduation, that led to a lot of different, opportunities. One in particular was I knew I wanted to go even further and advance my education even further. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I didn't know what. So I started coaching football, started working with Dream Big Project. And at the same time, I applied to be a substitute teacher. So I was doing these three things while I was kind of contemplating if I wanted to go pursue an advanced degree like my master's or just kind of, do what I was doing. So I was doing that I was coaching football for 5 years, substitute taught for 2 years, and Dream Big Project is still here to this day. I ended up making a decision to pursue a counseling program at Azusa Pacific University.
Oh, wow.
Shout out everybody APU.
Man, you're known all over the place already.
Just a little bit. And I ended up graduating with my master's degree from APU with my master's in clinical and school counseling. So as of today, or as of a year ago, I'm going into my second year this school year. I'm going into my second year as a high school counselor.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I've been around.
Yeah, you know something, you got a lot of alma maters everywhere, so
Right.
you're gonna fill up from everywhere. That's awesome and unique. But you know something, I know you touched a little bit about your project. Tell
Right.
me how did this come about? I know you say you got together with friends, but was it your idea? Was it friends' idea? How did this start, and
Right.
what made you make that decision?
Right. So it did come from me. Like I did have the idea of like I said, I'm someone who values education, right? To this day, you know, from elementary school till now, a big part of that was my parents, like just where they came from. They've had big dreams themselves, but they never really got to accomplish them. For example, they never even graduated high school, but they
Yeah.
always encouraged me to pursue college degree, right? So I really tied that, you know, just inspiring youth to pursue their dreams through education, right? Regardless of what is going on, regardless of what is happening, like you could turn your dreams into reality, turning that negative into a positive. So I really want to take my story, incorporate it into the Dream Big project, which is how we started, because I started in public speaking events. And then eventually was like, well, what else can we do? And so through research, through collaboration with teachers, educators, students, we started to identify certain needs within our community, basic needs, right? One thing we understood was that students cannot be successful in school, in life, whatever the situation is, if their basic needs are not met.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? What do they need to, you know, be successful in the classroom? Basic needs, you know, school supplies, backpacks, food, you know, sometimes hygiene kits, things like that. So our backpack giveaways, we collaborate with a lot of local organizations, and give back to students in need, right? And that's, you know, backpack giveaways. And then we thought, well, high school students, what are their basic needs? Yeah, they need school supplies, but how can we really, you know, help them
Yeah.
pursue their dreams through higher ed? And one way was to give back them scholarships. So we started off Dream Big project in the very beginning with $500 scholarships for two high school students. And then every year we were fortunate enough to, by the blessing of God and also just collaborating with others and getting support, you know, now we're providing, this year actually, we provided 7 scholarships, $1,000 each.
Wow. That's
for
amazing.
students in our community.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Miguel. You know, something, your story that I'm hearing right now, it's very unique. I mean, it's its own little story within its story.
Right.
I mean, to where you were, to where it happened, to where you are now, you are a true story and a true light to the people that are lost sometimes and kind of get confused in directions and hardship and say, you know something, we're always struggling and we get a negative. Now let's put a cross on it and let's make it a positive. Exactly. And we learn from there. I mean, this project that you started, it's amazing on its own.
Thank you.
You give a lot to the community. I know that because we work together and some of that stuff. But what I know it's kind of maybe not there, but COVID hit. Right. The whole world shut down. I mean, we all shut down for 2 years or whatever that time frame was. How did that affect you and your project? How did that go?
You know what? That was a really difficult time, obviously, as you know, for everyone, right, all over the globe. It affected us by, you know, number one, we weren't able to physically be present where the needs were. So we weren't able to go from point A to point B and serve the community as we were doing before. And we weren't even able to come together as a team, right? So it was like, well, what do we do? Like, we have to keep safety in mind with ourselves and the community. How else can we give back? So literally for about a year, we were shut down. We literally didn't do nothing besides promoting safety, you know, COVID-19 test and kind of safety methods. So we collaborated with some organizations to virtually promote, you know, wellness within social media. So we were doing that for a little while, supporting the community by providing information about COVID and all food resources, students needing food. That was one thing that we were wondering in the very beginning, like, how are students going to get their services? Like, so we started looking into that and helping spread out resources, online. So number one, we weren't able to come together physically. So we started to really think about how we could still help and support. And then later on towards 2021, like a year after, things started to kind of settle down a little bit. And we started coming together physically and started reaching out to schools like, hey, like, we understand, COVID and the safety measures. Is there any way we can collaborate with you and still provide these resources like basic needs, supplies and things? So what we did was we ended up shifting to like a drive-through backpack giveaway.
Okay.
So with Wait Middle School, actually in Norwalk, La Mirada, Unified, we collaborated with them and we actually provided a little over 100 backpacks to directly to families. We were literally parked in their parking lot and we, created like this drive-through, and families were pulling up in their cars and we were able to serve them right then and there in a safe way. And so we started shifting in that direction.
Okay.
And then the next thing we did, as you know, we started one need that we started to see within the community was like for parents, business owners, we really wanted to see like, how can we help, because there's a huge need. How can we help? So that's when we reached out to you and seeing if you were interested in collaborating like a pop-up event.
Okay.
So we started doing that for a few months and supporting, small vendors, brought them all together, parked in your parking lot, created a pop-up event right then and there. And, we raised a little bit of money for our youth programs while simultaneously, giving a space for small vendors, small businesses to kind of make a living for themselves and promote and sell their business. Right. So we really adapted and shifted and had to do a lot of different things and kind of get out of our comfort zone in a little bit.
Yeah.
Including the pop-up events, including drive-through, including, social media was getting even bigger at the time as far as like utilizing it, sharing resources and things like that. So we started shifting in those directions more than ever before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in COVID now. We're a little bit not out of COVID, but we're on this side somewhere, whatever that line is.
Right.
What have you learned? I mean, because you took in a lot of negatives and turned positive. So what's the positive that you're able to evolve out of this COVID that maybe you didn't know back then for your project? Now today it's something unique and new for you.
There was a few things that we learned. One thing in particular now that I can think about right away is, there's always been a huge need there, COVID or not. There's always been a tremendous need there. And I still don't think enough people understand like the need. So I think that collaborating with local organizations and really giving back, that's what there's a need to do more of that, to bring the community together. Because, before the community was kind of, this could be across any community, but there was a lot of differences, whereas we weren't really united. And so COVID, there was that saying like, we're in this together, we're stronger together, strength in numbers type of thing. So I feel like that started to come out of COVID as far as like looking out for one another, being more compassionate. And that I think strengthened our team because we started to see how big the need was. And we wanted to give back even more so. So I think not only as an organization, but through collaboration with others, the impact could be even bigger. So I think through COVID, we were able to see that need and at the same time collaborate with organizations and individuals and all different types of people come together and make that impact even bigger.
Okay.
So that was kind of like essentially one of the biggest things we got out of COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any new projects coming up? Any new things? Actually, dreams? Any more dreams coming up?
Big dreams, huh? Yeah. Some of the things that we're going to be distributing or implementing within Dream Big Project, we're going to be doing a teacher sponsorship. So we're going to be sponsoring a public school teacher with $1,000 for their classroom needs. We understand that one of the biggest needs is, teachers pay out of pocket to pay for their own school supplies for their classroom. So we want to help with that. So that's going to be one thing we implement, moving forward.
Okay.
Helping public school teachers with, $1,000 for their classroom. Another thing we want to do is bring in an emergency fund, like a grant for undergraduates at the college level, right? So we talked a little bit about K through 12.
Yeah.
Now you want to start going into, well, how can we help those students who are just getting to college, who are still, learning just the ropes of college and education. So one way of us doing that and addressing like a large need is by providing like an emergency grant for students who may be homeless. Students may have a broken down car and can't, have transportation, or who maybe come from another state and don't really know anybody. So essentially, we want to provide an emergency grant that's accessible for undergraduate students who are in need of something because of an emergency. So whether that be like car repairs or education itself, tuition, food, we want to be able to support that. So that's going to be another thing we implement to serve undergraduate students in college.
Yeah, you hit something very, very unique that doesn't get talked about. A lot of kids that go to college are strapped for money. They work in odd jobs because college takes their odd schedules. There's not like in high school that you go 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock or whatever. College is whatever classes you can pick up. It's either morning or night, or it's in morning and night. So it kind of throws you off. And sometimes the funds, because maybe family can't support, or they are on their own, like you said, they coming to another college out of state, and they're kind of lost. And a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of college students out there that are homeless.
Oh yeah,
truly homeless. And we kind of like we live in an era that we kind of like homeless. What's that about?
Right.
No, but there's a lot of need out there, and we don't connect the dots sometimes with the homeless population but there's homeless population is a very unique environment that's out there, and you're reaching out to one segment of it, which I like I said, you do a lot of great stuff, and I mean that project that you just said right now is, and to all the public school teachers, you know where to go, where to go to get your funding.
No, but I want to add, because you bring up a good point too regarding the homelessness and the need for students, right? Especially like college students. And one of the reasons why we wanted to go into like higher ed and provide money is because student loan debt, right? It's like one of the largest, over $1 trillion right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, we're the system, in the US, we're okay with providing, having 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds sign off on a $50,000 loan, but, we can't really educate them on the process of how that can impact them in a way. So, or, we can't even give them a credit card, or they can't drink, alcohol or purchase a home. But we're so quick. Hey, you want to sign a $80,000 loan in your name and, have no idea how you're going to pay that back. So the student loan debt's over $1 trillion right now, more than, car loans, credit card loans, mortgages combined. Mm-hmm. Meaning that if we combine credit card debt, if we combine, car loans, if we combine that, student loan debt is more than that. So there's a lot of different points of views, I'm not going to lie, but at the end of the day, like, students need help because they're taking out a loan and they're graduating and have no idea how they're going to pay that back. So I think there's a lot of different things that need to be implemented within that, but we want to help students take out less loans if it's possible.
Okay.
So that's like the need there. And so our way of solving that need or helping is providing money for students to pay for college.
Okay, Miguel, we started with this journey of yours, and we've been peaks and valleys. We've seen all the amazing work that you've done. Mm-hmm. Now, tell me, how can our viewers and listeners help you and help Big Dream Project?
So the direction that we're going in, personally and with Dream Big, number one, Dream Big Project, we want to bring a wellness center to the community of Norwalk that's going to serve humans of all ages and stages of life. We're going to continue doing what we're doing, but we want to implement wellness into the community. Again, basic needs. So we want to bring a wellness center into the community of Norwalk. And in order to do that, I want to just give a little, shout out to everybody. We need your help. We need your support to do something this big and this great for our community. And if you are interested in giving back and helping us in this mission, there's a lot of ways you can contribute. Some of those ways, you can volunteer with us. We have a high need of volunteers. We need volunteers to serve, give back. If you want to donate, if you want to sponsor, if you want to collaborate, there's so many ways you can contribute to our cause and to our mission and vision. And if you want to learn more about that, dreambigproject.org, or just reach out to me personally. Whatever way you're interested in contributing and giving back, please don't hesitate to reach out. Dream Big is here for you, and we're with you, and we welcome you. So don't hesitate to reach out. Personally, for me, I'm going to continue my education, not in school, but I'm going to complete my clinical counseling degree and provide clinical counseling within Dream Big Project in our resource center, in our wellness center. So we're going to implement counseling within Dream Big Project at our wellness center. And so I'm going that direction as far as counseling. And with Dream Big, we're going a direction where we're bringing in a wellness center, a physical building to the community of Norwalk. And one way we can do that is, Rick, by your continued support and collaboration, and everyone out there the team, Dream Big Project team, volunteers we have now, but we need more. We need more help. We need you. So don't hesitate to reach out. By any means necessary, contact me, or you can always visit dreambigproject.org. Thank you.
All right, Miguel. This is special. This is a special podcast. I've been waiting to interview you because I needed our audience to hear your story. And it's been a pleasure, brother.
I appreciate it.
It really is. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for giving us such a wonderful story and your dream and your nonprofit, which is awesome.
No, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to, speak with you and share my story. And most importantly, just bring attention to the need in our community. So I appreciate you.
Anytime. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Signing out, Rick from La Cocina Talk. See you in the next episode. Have a great day.